I was recently working with a client where I was explaining the difference between what we call a fixed theory about oneself, which is one's belief, and a malleable theory about oneself, which is also one's belief. Now, the interesting thing about this is that understanding this difference between fixed theory and malleable theory can completely change the way that you coach. And this is a strategy to give more effective feedback and can have an immediate impact on the outcomes that your athletes may or may not get. Now, I wrote an article about it, so you may be able to refer to that as well. But essentially what I was talking about here is that a malleable theory about oneself means that, for example, an individual, an athlete, person sees themselves more as a work in progress, and that their success or their ability to achieve results in their sport is not fixed in nature. So what I'm suggesting is that when they think about their level of intelligence, for example, or they think about their athletic ability, that they truly believe that if they work harder, if they have a quality attitude, if they have good discipline, good work ethic, that therefore all of their abilities will subsequently improve. Now, some people actually have what we call a fixed theory, and that for whatever reason, and quite likely it's the way that they were brought up and the conditioning that they've been experienced to in their various environments throughout their life, they have a belief that whatever physical abilities they have are completely fixed. So for example, if they're fast, they're fast. If they're slow, they'll always be slow. If they're a certain strength level, that they're a certain strength level. If they're a certain type of player, that's all they'll ever be. And what's interesting about that is, as I mentioned before, it's a function of how they've been coached and brought up. And so the feedback that you give as a coach can completely alter someone's either fixed or malleable theory. So for example, if as a coach you've ever caught yourself saying to an athlete, you did a great job today, you've got such a phenomenal level of talent, or you're such a great player, or you were born to be a footballer, you were born to be a soccer player, you were born to be an athlete. You know, that is reinforcing someone's fixed theory about themselves. On the other hand, what's the difference between giving feedback such as, you did a great job today, I could see how hard you worked at your technique, and that's why you got a great outcome. Or, I could tell how well you ran today based on, the technical aspects that we've been working on and improving week to week, and I could see how that helped create a good outcome for you today, or helped run a great time, or execute a perfect stroke, or whatever the case may be. There is a distinct difference. Now, the thing about having a malleable theory, it means that the athlete starts, or the individual, the coach, whoever it may be, the athlete actually starts to tap more into their intrinsic motivators. They see that the harder that I work, the better I will get. And then that's very, very important in terms of their intrinsic motivation to want to keep on rising to a challenge and continually strive to improve. And what's also really interesting is that a lot of coaches today that I talk to, they talk about this younger generation of people, younger generation of athletes, and they talk about the fact that some of them may lack what we would consider to be mental toughness or resilience. Well, what's interesting is that people who have a malleable theory about themselves, they cope with setbacks better, that they actually display more levels of resilience and ultimately are more mentally tough, because they know that any obstacle that they are presented with, the harder they work, the better their attitude, the better their ethic, the better their discipline, the more likely it is that they will be able to overcome that obstacle. Whereas someone who has a fixed theory, they see an obstacle and they go, you know what, I don't have the ability to do that. And essentially they're linking it to the fact that throughout their whole life, they've been told that they have talent, they have ability, but it's something which is innate in them. It wasn't something which has developed. And if you want to read an interesting book on this, but it's not about this specifically, but it's mentioned within the book, is Andre Agassi's biography, where he spoke specifically about how he was always a work in progress. He's not a finished product. And that as a player, he saw himself as literally a work in progress. And for him to improve was a function of him developing his skills through hard work, through discipline, through that sense of work ethic. And so I challenge you next time that you coach to think about the feedback that you're giving to your athletes, to your players, and to be very conscious about the fact that you're trying to link their effort, their hard work, their work ethic, and their discipline to the reasons as to why they're playing well or improving.